kerjasama dengan universitas maupun instansi baik di dalam maupun luar negeri. Salah satunya adalah kerjasama dengan Universitas Setsunan di Osaka, Jepang, yang secara rutin mengirimkan beberapa mahasiswa untuk saling bertukar pengalaman mengenai bahasa dan budaya masing-masing. Kerjasama ini sangat bermanfaat untuk meningkatkan kualitas dosen dan mahasiswa Fakultas Sastra.
On its journey, Faculty of Letters Dr. Sutomo University has two departments, English and Japanese.
In this program, Dr. Sutomo University get B on accreditation through the applications of national standard in conducting Tri Dharma perguruan tinggi, especially in language, literature, and culture in 2020. In teaching learning process, this program has several competent lecturers, both in master and doctorate degree, who have gotten education certificate or CERDOS. Besides, our teaching learning process is also supported by some native speakers and guest lecturers coming from many foreign countries. Meanwhile, in research and social service activities, this program has done many joint ventures with some institutions such as Al Bismar Islamic Boarding School and Gang Doli English Club. Concerning the results of the research and social service, we publish them in our local journal and some proceedings in international seminars. Every year, there is a cross-cultural understanding program conducted here in cooperation with Oklahoma State University and other universities. So, by doing all of the above program seriously, we hope that our output will be ready to face the competition in society.
日本語学科は1993年に開設されました。おかげさまで5年度の認証評価において絵を獲得することができました。今まで200人以上の卒業生を輩出してまいりました。彼らは国内外のさまざまな分野で活躍しています。学生たちは在学中に日本語学科と連携協定をしている期間、すなわち日本の北海道や沖縄、さらには関西地方のホテル、あるいはインドネシア国内のさまざまなところでインターンシップを行うことが義務付けられています。また、日本語学科は複数の日本人教員を抱えており、さらに日本の卒業大学からの留学生がすでにおりますので、日本語を話す実践の場がキャンパスにあることから、学生たちの日本語運営能力は比較的高く、実践な日本語をマスターすることができています。加えて、日本語学科では東ジャワジャパンクラブの協力を得て、定期的に懇談会を実施しています。以上のようなさまざまな活動を通じて、学生たちは日本人と直接接する機会を得て、体験や学習を積んでおります。そのため、卒業後には即戦力として活躍できる人材が生まれているわけです。ありがとうございます。
In order to support the realization of the vision of Faculty of Letters Unitomo, the addition of facilities supporting three pillars of higher education continues to be carried out. In order to improve the teaching and learning process, career development starting from comfortable class and student activity facilities, including multimedia laboratory, culture laboratory in Japanese corner, located in the library as an infrastructure for students to better enjoy the Japanese atmosphere. Dealing with non-academic activities, students of Faculty of Letters have several activities, making them possible to enrich their knowledge about culture and to practice their English skills. There are a number of non-academic activities held in English departments such as debate club, which is a club which activities are to train students in delivering their critical thinking using English, and cooking class helps for the students not only to be familiar with Western cuisine, but also to make the students learn about and practice entrepreneurship. There are also drama activities as a means of training students to communicate in English and better understanding about drama theories they have learned. And there are also several other activities that can support the abilities and competencies of students in the fields of English letters. While non-academic activities in Japanese department include Sudo, Kanoyu, Rorikurabu, origami, and Yosakoi dance. Shodo is an art of calligraphy about how to write letters of hiragana, katakana, and kanji beautifully using Japanese brass called ude. Kanoyu, called the tea ceremony in English, is an art of how to prepare, serve, and enjoy the tea. Kanoyu is full of philosophical perspective on how humans can live in harmony with themselves, others, their God, and their environment. Ryurikurabu is a cooking club run by students of Department of Japanese whose purposes are to learn the culture of Japanese cuisine and to train students to practice entrepreneurship. There's a famous saying, "Mi de taberu," in Japanese culture meaning eating with the eyes. It means that food should not only be delicious but also beautifully seen. Origami is the art of paper folding originating from Japan. Origami is not only the technique of folding paper into an object, but also contains many philosophical perspectives. One of which is a crane-shaped origami in Japanese called suru, whose philosophical meaning is a good wish. Yosakoi dance tells about the excitement of the farmers as an expression of gratitude for the abundant crops. And there are several other activities that can support the abilities and competencies of students in the field of Japanese literature. Faculty of Letters has grown with more than 100 people who have now been spread to both various government and private institutions in numerous countries. There is a great contribution given by alumni to the Faculty of Letters, both in terms of material and non-material matters.
Selamat pagi teman-teman dan rekan-rekan. Pada kesempatan ini saya memperkenalkan diri. Nama saya adalah Insinyur Adi Wijaya, Sarjana Hukum, Sarjana Sastra. Saya adalah seorang lawyer, advokat, alumni dari Fakultas Sastra Unitomo Surabaya, jurusan Sastra Inggris. Bahwa saya adalah angkatan tahun 2006. Sebagai seorang lawyer, dalam menghadapi atau menerima satu job profesional yang berkaitan dengan perjanjian internasional yang berkaitan dengan bahasa Inggris, biasanya saya harus mendatangi atau bekerja sama dengan translator atau penerjemah. Akan tetapi setelah saya berkuliah Unitomo Surabaya, Fakultas Sastra, jurusan Sastra Inggris, saya dapat meningkatkan capability dan kompetensi saya dalam berbahasa Inggris, sehingga pada saat saya menerima job dalam melayani klien-klien saya bisa langsung menghandle karena capability dan kompetensi saya dalam bahasa Inggris telah meningkat dengan baik. Harapan saya ke depan bagi alma mater tercinta adalah saya berharap Fakultas Sastra, jurusan Sastra Inggris senantiasa meningkatkan kemampuan para siswa, meningkatkan fasilitas laboratorium sehingga alumni-alumni mempunyai kemampuan speaking dan listening yang bagus sehingga nantinya dapat bersaing di dunia kerja. Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nama saya Fatia. Saya Direktur Utama dari PT Fini Indonesia Ngoro Mojokerto. Saya alumni Fakultas Sastra jurusan Sastra Jepang Universitas Dr. Sutomo Surabaya angkatan 2000. Selama saya kuliah di Unitomo, saya sempat mendapatkan beasiswa student exchange ke Jepang di Kochi University, dan berkat Unitomo pula saya bisa menapaki karir saya yang seperti ini. Di Unitomo, saya bisa mendapatkan banyak hal, pengetahuan tentang Jepang, budaya Jepang, dan lain-lain. Berkat Unitomo pula, saya bisa mendapatkan beasiswa S2 di Nagoya University, Jepang tahun 2008. Dengan belajar di Unitomo, saya mendapatkan banyak pengalaman yang sangat menyenangkan. Ada berbagai macam klub yang bisa saya ikuti waktu itu, salah satunya adalah Chanoyu. Harapan saya ke depannya, Universitas Dr. Sutomo bisa menjalin kerjasama dengan berbagai pihak, terutama dengan perusahaan-perusahaan PMA yang ada di Indonesia, sehingga para alumni bisa bekerja di perusahaan-perusahaan yang sudah bekerja sama dengan Unitomo. Selain itu juga mungkin bisa banyak terjalin kerjasama dengan universitas-universitas di Jepang, sehingga bisa mengirimkan siswa-siswanya untuk belajar ke Jepang. Terima kasih.
Untuk mencapai visi yang dicanangkan oleh Fakultas Sastra Universitas Dr. Sutomo, yaitu menjadi fakultas yang unggul berstandar nasional dalam melaksanakan Tridharma perguruan tinggi, khususnya di bidang bahasa, sastra, dan budaya, kami berharap adanya peningkatan kerjasama penelitian di tingkat internasional, selain juga peningkatan prestasi mahasiswa di bidang akademik maupun non-akademik.
Morning, Pak Artawan.
Good morning, Pak Kusuma. Hello, everyone.
Can you listen to my voice clearly?
Very clear, sir. Absolutely clear.
Thank you.
I can your face clearly too.
That's
Yes.
bad.
Yeah. Hopefully that you are always in the good condition with your family, Bapak.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Pak Artawan.
Okay, because I think that we can work together in another occasion for another activity, and I really need your contribution and also your outstanding knowledge to share to others.
Well, I'm learning by doing, sir.
Me too, sir. Me too. Right now, how many participants has already joined this link? I mean,
So far, there are 14 participants, sir.
14 participants, and we are still waiting for Pak John.
Okay, that's right.
Good.
And by the way, who is going to open this webinar?
You.
Will Butantri?
No, sir. Butantri will close this seminar, this webinar, and you open. You are
Okay then.
okay.
So I'll directly open, right?
Yes.
Then Butantri
yes.
will be the closer one. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Correct one. I like your style, sir. So relaxed.
Well, I get nervous actually.
Okay.
Wait,
I think we can greet everyone here. Hello, guys. I see in my note, in my slide, in my screen here, Davara, Mas Niko, thank you, Mas Niko. Terima kasih, Mas Niko.
Mas Niko, terima kasih.
Terima kasih sudah berkenan bantu beberapa hari ini. Wow, tanpa Mas Niko saya kira kok kita akan ini ya kesulitan.
Oh,
Bapak.
yeah,
It will be
betul.
very hard for us to
Yeah, that's
what
right.
is it,
Dealing with
hold
these technical
all the
matters,
activities.
well,
Iya, kemarin juga Mas Niko membantu banyak ke Fakultas Sastra, Pak, terutama ke saya untuk handling OSFAK. So, Mas Niko, terima kasih sekali lagi. Jangan kapok-kapok, Mas Niko.
Oh iya. Dan kemarin itu keberhasilan Mas Niko kemarin itu.
Saya kira Pak, salah satunya
Kemarin
penyebabnya
keberhasilan
Mas
Niko.
Niko ya. Dan akan dicatat nanti. Mudah-mudahan jadi amal yang barokah, dicatat
Amin,
jadi amal
amin.
yang baik nantinya.
Amin.
Oke. I see here Davara. Hello, Davara. Oh, Pak John already. Pak John sudah ikut. Mas Niko nanti yang Mas Niko, halo.
Ya, ya Pak.
Mas Niko nanti yang ikut-ikut, Mas Niko yang admin ya.
Morning Pak John.
Ya, bisa.
Oke, baik, baik. Terima kasih Mas. Pak John. Good morning Pak John.
Morning Pak John.
Pak John, can you hear our voice?
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Morning, everybody.
Morning Pak John. How do you do?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good to see you all.
Yeah, we are very okay, Pak John. We are very
All right.
okay. We are very well. Pak John, let me introduce the moderator. I think you have already. I don't remember whether you have already met Pak Kusuma before or not. And the moderator today for our webinar is Mr. Kusuma, one of the lecturers in the Faculty of Letters, English Department.
I can't
Yes.
remember. We may have met.
Yeah, I think this
if
is
we did
our
meet, it
first
was
time
very
to meet.
brief.
Oh,
This is our first time to meet Pak John.
This is the first time to meet, right?
That's right.
Great. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Pak John, you're going to be the first speaker for today, right?
All right.
Mas Niko nanti Pak John co-hostnya juga untuk bisa ini ya Mas Niko, bisa share screen juga ya?
Ya, bisa Pak. Sudah saya setting co-host juga.
Siap. Oke Pak Kusuma, are you ready to open?
Okay then, so we'll start. Well, good morning, my dear students, and also the honorable participants of our today's webinar, and of course, our two extraordinary speakers, Bapak Suhartawan and Bapak John D. Pierce. Well, first of all, on behalf of Faculty of Letters, English Department, Dr. Sutomo University, I would like to welcome all of you to be here at this very moment. As we know that the main topic of our webinar today is learning English in new normal. It means that we are about to listen to, learn, and also hopefully later we'll practice how to learn English, especially in new normal. This webinar will be divided into 3 sections. The first session will be a speech or presentation delivered by the first speaker, Bapak John D. Pierce. And the second session will be Pak Suhartawan delivering his presentation. And the last session of our today's webinar is an open question session. Nah, jadi untuk kawan-kawan maba, open question session adalah sesi tanya jawab in which all of you are allowed to ask any question, give comment to both speakers' presentation, or you may also share your knowledge or share your experience dealing with our main topic, learning English. Jadi nanti boleh bertanya, boleh menanggapi, dan boleh pula berbagi pengalaman perihal belajar bahasa Inggris. And why is that important? Because our two keynote speakers are very extraordinary person, in my opinion. Let me tell you about the first speaker, Bapak John D. Pierce. By the way, if you are curious, kalau bertanya-tanya perihal what does the letter D as his middle name stand for, well, I think it's better for all of you later in open question session ask the owner himself. Okay, now what is extraordinary about our first speaker here, Bapak John? The first one, he has been an English teacher. It means that his profession is to teach English, mengajar bahasa Inggris. The second one, not only an English teacher, but also an experienced English teacher, seorang guru bahasa Inggris yang berpengalaman. Why? Pak John has been involved in learning and teaching English since 2000 and here I'll read the CV. 2010, can you imagine that one? It has been 10 years. Pak John telah menjadi guru bahasa Inggris sejak tahun 2010 dan pastinya memiliki banyak pengalaman. Therefore, it's time for you. We should be grateful to Allah that today we are here to meet him. Nah, another extraordinary thing about Pak John is that he's not only an experienced English teacher, but he is also apparently a consultant, English consultant here in Surabaya. It means that he is an expert on English, learning and studying English. So we are honored to have him here with us on air this morning. And most of all, well, of course, he is a native speaker. Beliau adalah native speaker, kawan-kawan maba. Penutur asli. Well, of course, there will be very different between native speaker and foreign language speaker. Bagi kita, for us, English is a foreign language. Tapi bagi Pak John, itu adalah bahasa ibu Pak John. Therefore, we are lucky to have him here. And now, so that's our first speaker. How about our second speaker? Well, it's quite difficult to say that our second speaker is not extraordinary. It's very difficult. Why is that? He has graduated from doctoral degree in a very young age. He is also an experienced teacher as well as lecturer. And his expert is on language teaching, English language teaching, pengajaran bahasa Inggris, and also linguistics. Jadi nanti di perkuliahan Anda akan berkenalan dengan mata kuliah linguistics seperti phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, dan Pak Hartawan is the expert. Dari pengalaman beliau nanti kita bisa belajar banyak mengenai how to learn English. Kenapa kok pagi ini kita mengambil topik learning English in new normal, terutama untuk kawan-kawan maba? Well, we know that learning English is very important. Everybody knows that one. Semua orang sudah tahu itu. But the problem is, most of us just don't know how to learn English effectively so that we can communicate smoothly using English. Nah, oleh karena itu pagi ini nanti don't hesitate to ask any question or to share your experience. Senyampang, mumpung ada dua presenter yang sangat handal, ada dua bicara yang sangat handal di tengah kita. Nah, without further ado, let me start our first session in which I will welcome Pak John to deliver the idea concerning to the main topic, and the time is 40 minutes, Pak John. Therefore, well, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, Pak Suma. Selamat pagi. Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well today. So,
morning.
So I'd like to start with a little bit of experience that I have. I am an experienced language teacher, but I'm also an experienced language learner. And my language learning experiences have influenced my teaching, and they've also influenced the comments that I give to other people who are trying to learn a language. When I was a child, my parents, I'm originally from America. I was born in America, and I've lived most of my life in America. But when I was a child, less than 10 years old, my parents moved to the country of Mexico, which is just south of America, just south of the United States. And the language that the people speak in Mexico is not English, they speak Spanish. And we had a Mexican housekeeper who spoke Spanish with me. I went to school where my friends spoke Spanish with me. And little by little, I picked up the vocabulary. Most of my schoolwork, because of the project that my father was working on, there were many expatriates from America and other parts of the world. And so there was actually a section of the school that was taught in English, and I was part of that. But we did get sent every day to another class in the regular section of the school where we had to study math, or we had to study art or dance in Spanish. And this was my first experience learning a language, and I started this quite young. I started preschool in Mexico. And you know, when you're in the situation, you absorb it, you pick it up, you listen to it, you repeat it, and you slowly learn it. By the time I was 10 years old, we had moved back to the United States. I was not very comfortable with Spanish at that time because I hadn't paid enough attention. I studied what I had to study, but I focused mostly on English. My closest friends spoke English. But when I got to high school, in America in high school, we have a few more elective classes. That is, kalau di Amerika, mata pelajaran pilihannya agak lebih banyak daripada di sini. Jadi saya milih ikut bahasa Spanyol. So I decided to take Spanish as one of my electives. And my Spanish teacher was an extraordinary man. Yaitu guru bahasa Spanyol saya seorang luar biasa. Dia sendiri ngalami bahasa Spanyol pertama kali saatnya dia jadi peserta pertukaran pelajaran dari Amerika ke Meksiko. Dan di situ dia ceritakan bahwa dia untuk keperluannya perlu beli baju. Dia ke toko dan dia tanpa kemampuan berbahasa Spanyol, lama-lama dengan beberapa gerakan, omongan, goyangan, dia lama-lama dapat belikan satu baju yang dia perlu. Sambil beli baju itu, dia juga menemukan salah satu guru di sekolahnya, saatnya di Meksiko. Gurunya mengabaikannya. Guru saya, yang jadi guru saya, dia tinggalkan muridnya untuk berusaha sendiri untuk belajar caranya menyampaikan ke penjaga toko apa yang dia perlu. Dan orang yang jadi guru saya, dia merasa gak begitu enak. Karena dia tahu itu gurunya dia, dan dia heran kok dia tidak dipertolong. Dan lama-lama dia tanya kepada gurunya, "Pak Guru, tolong, kenapa Anda tidak menolong saya saatnya saya perlu beli baju?" Pak gurunya tanya, "Anda sebelum masuk ke toko itu dapat membahas apa yang Anda perlu sama penjaga toko?" Dia jawab, "Tentu tidak." "Setelah Anda keluar dari toko itu, apa Anda dapat membahas apa yang Anda perlu ke penjaga toko?" Tentu saja. Dan dia menjelaskan, yaitu dari pengalaman tersebut, yang orangnya yang jadi guru bahasa Spanyol saya, dia tahu bahwa untuk belajar bahasa itu sangat penting pakai bahasanya. Jadi, dari pengalaman kecil saya di Meksiko, belajar bahasa dari teman-teman, bahasa Spanyol dari teman-teman saya masuk kelasnya beliau, di mana kita disuruh pakai bahasa Spanyol saja, walaupun kita nggak ngerti, walaupun kita salah, walaupun apa saja. Pokoknya kita terpaksa pakai bahasa Spanyol. Dan ya kita ya masih remaja, nggak begitu peduli baik ini aturan klasis, nggak begitu banyak dipikirkan. Dan tapi tentu saja kita terus dijelaskan oleh guru kita, kalian akan tambah lancar dan tambah lancar dengan cepat, sebab kalian langsung memakai bahasanya, tidak sibuk mikir-mikir, oh ini artinya apa, ini artinya apa, ini artinya apa. Dengan paksaan kita ya harus gunakan bahasanya. Mungkin bagian ini saya lebih pakai bahasa Indonesia untuk kasih penjelasan yang cukup mudah ditangkap, dan juga untuk menyontoh bagaimana saya sendiri dapat belajar bahasa Indonesia. Hasilnya apa? Tentu bahasa Indonesia saya masih ada kekurangan. Saya sendiri belum menganggap diri saya mahir berbahasa Indonesia. Kalau untuk berbicara seperti ini, saya sudah nyaman. Tapi ada beberapa sisi bahasa lain yang saya tentu kurang. Begitulah bagi dunia pelajar. Baik. Demi kondisi di kelas bahasa Spanyol saya di SMA, itu ya saya dapat menjadi lebih fasih berbahasa Spanyol. Di situ di Amerika banyak orang karya pendatang dari Meksiko dan dari negara Amerika Latin yang lain. Nah, itu kalau saya ada kerja musiman, yang itu biasa di Amerika, orang ambil, kalau liburan sekolah biasanya 3 bulan di sana. Anak-anak remaja biasanya kerja pada 3 bulan itu untuk ya nambah uang saku dan lain-lain. Dan di situ saya ketemu beberapa orang Meksiko dan saya dapat berbicara dengannya. Lanjut ke depan sedikit, di kuliah saya ambil jurusan ilmu bumi, tapi juga saya ambil mata pelajaran pilihan bahasa Arab. Di saat kuliah saya belajar bahasa Arab 1 tahun 2 semester itu, dan lingkungannya tidak murni berbahasa Arab. Itu kita beberapa banyak waktunya sifat-sifat dan tata-tatanya bahasa Arab dijelaskan pakai bahasa Inggris. Kita kebanyakan diajari kosakata melalui terjemahan. Itu saya gambarkan pada kalian. Saatnya kita ditanya sama dosen suatu hal, langsung ada bunyi kertas. Kita cari kosakatanya. Itu kita berusaha nangkap apa yang beliau bilang, menerjemahkannya ke bahasa Inggris, mikirkannya, menjawabnya, terus terjemahkan jawabannya kembali ke bahasa Arab. Lama banget. Dan ya itu, kayaknya kertas terbang di ruang pelajaran kita. Baik kita lumayan bisa jawab pertanyaan dosen kita, dan ya memang 1 tahun itu belum banyak. Tapi ya lama-lama itu tidak lengkap, tidak dapat saya ingat bahasa Arab yang apa saya pelajari selama 1 tahun itu. Masih sedikit. Saya sendiri sampai sekarang nggak bisa berbicara bahasa Arab. Dan saya nangkap itu dari soal kita pakai bahasa Inggris kebanyakan. Kita selalu mikir dalam bahasa Inggris, di mana kita nggak bisa menyerap bahasa Arabnya. Jadi, setelah saya lulus kuliah, saya memilih jadi pengajar bahasa Inggris. Saya dapat kesempatan untuk datang ke Indonesia. Saya turun ke Bandara Juanda langsung dari luar negeri untuk mulai bekerja di Sidoarjo dengan bisa selamat sore. Itu aja. Tahunnya ada yang untuk pagi, tahunnya ada yang untuk siang, tahunnya ada yang untuk malam, tapi nggak tahu apa nggak ingat apa yang ucapannya. Dengan pengalaman saya sudah tahu, saya nggak usah khawatir. Sebelum saya berangkat ke Indonesia, saya ditanyakan sama kakek saya. Kakek tanya, kok John, kamu nggak takut nggak bisa nyambung sama orang sana, nggak bisa berbicara sama orang sana? Ya bagaimana? Apa kamu akan bawa kertas dan pensil untuk menuliskan komunikasinya? Saya ngomongnya jangan khawatir, kayak coba bagaimana saya bisa hasilkan. Karena saya tahu caranya ya itu datang ke tempat. Dan seperti mandi dengan bahasanya. Datang, duduk, dan dengar. Mendengar sama seperti bayi baru lahir. Jangan sibuk pikir. Itu saya dengan pengalaman ngajar saya. Orang yang susah maju terlalu sibuk mikir. Oh, ini artinya apa? Ini artinya apa? Ini artinya apa? Bagaimana? Orangnya otaknya udah sibuk kerja di sebelah sini, nggak bisa terima di sebelah sini. Jadi ya kayak buntu, nggak bisa bahasa baru, nggak bisa masuk. Jadi ya langkah pertama untuk belajar bahasa asing, termasuk bahasa Inggris, tapi ini laku untuk setiap bahasa yang Anda pelajari, karena ini caranya yang dipakai untuk pelajari bahasa dari ibu sendiri, yaitu dulu mendengar. Mendengar, menyerap. Jangan sibuk mikir, menyaksikan bahasanya. Menyaksikan bagaimana bahasa digunakan. Itu saya, ya, demikian pengetahuan itu datang ke Indonesia dengan sedikit sekali bahasanya, dan duduk, dengar. Kalau saya ada waktu kosong, saya keluar sekolah, duduk sama satpam, duduk sama siapa saja yang duduk di depan sekolahnya, dan saya dengar apa mereka ngomong. Oh, malah gampang, malah enak, karena orang Indonesia, saking ramah orang Indonesia mau bicara. Jadi tinggal kita duduk. Dan ini tidak harus jadi halangan bagi kalian yang mau belajar bahasa Inggris, mau belajar bahasa asing lain. Ini sekarang kita ada internet untuk menyambung ke media berbahasa Inggris, berbahasa Arab, berbahasa Mandarin, berbahasa Rusia, berbahasa India, macam-macam bahasa, gampang sekali. Tidak kita harus langsung dengar dari orangnya. Istimewa kalau bisa, kalau kita dapat. Tapi tidak harus. Kita bisa pakai media yang kita sudah mudah menelusuri untuk mendengarkan bahasa yang kita tujui. Yaitu saya kebanyakan dengar habis datang di Indonesia sampai kurang lebih 4 bulan. Saya ke warung kalau ada waktu, saya ikut sembahyang, dengar, saya pakai sembahyang di tempat sembahyang sebagai kegiatan pelajaran bahasa. Datang, dengar, ngomong gini. Ya, apalagi ada anaknya, karena misalnya pidato yang dikasih di tempat sembahyang itu selalu mulai dengan kata-kata yang sama, selalu berakhir dengan kata-kata yang sama. Dan kita dengan menyaksikan bahasa, yaitu menyaksikan waktu, lokasi, dan situasi di mana kata-kata digunakan, lama-lama kita bisa nyambungkan secara tanpa terjemahan. Kita bisa nyambungkan apa arti kata itu. Oh, selalu di situasi ini ada orang ngomong ini. Kaitannya apa? Lama-lama tambah kental, tambah lengkap. Ini kita harus sabar, kita harus kasih waktu. Saya sendiri pakai kurang lebih 4 bulan. Habis 4 bulan saya bisa paham apa yang diomong orang. Kurang lebih. Ya, memang kosakatanya masih sangat terbatas. Tapi saya bisa ke suatu tempat, bisa ke pasar, bisa ke warung, bisa ke desa lain. Bisa duduk dengan orang, saya bisa dengar apa mereka bicarakan, dan kurang lebih saya bisa paham. Bisa nangkap. Setelah itu saya lebih banyak berusaha untuk mengucapkan, membahaskan diriku, membahaskan apa yang saya lakukan. Sering kita ditanya, oh mau kemana? Saya mau ke bla bla bla, ke tempat apa yang saya tujui. Dengan kurang lebih 4 bulan lagi, saya udah merasa nyaman untuk bicara dengan orang yang saya ketemu di mana-mana. Ini masih tingkat dasar, masih kosakata terbatas dengan apa saya sedang lakukan, dari mana saya, apa pekerjaan saya. umur saya dan segala yang dasar-dasar itu. Tapi dengan fondasi itu, lama-lama saya dapat tingkat kemampuan saya. Saya sudah di Indonesia 10 tahun ini. Dan dari waktu 8 bulan di sini, saya sudah bisa berinteraksi walaupun di tingkat dasar. Saya sudah dapat berinteraksi sama orang-orang di Indonesia di mana-mana. Itu saya ngalami saat perjalanan ke Flores, di mana tidak, saya nggak ada halangan mau bicara A, B, C, D sama orang-orang saya ketemu di sana, mau berwisata ini, mau tanya sama orangnya, apa ya orangnya dari mana, pekerjaannya. Saya tanya kepada orangnya apa pekerjaannya. Ya, dan saya sangat bersyukur, alhamdulillah, dengan ini. Malah mengagetkan diri saya dengan kalau langsung ke Indonesia, langsung berusaha untuk belajar di lokasinya dalam waktu kurang 1 tahun saya dapat ya bisa bicara secara dasar dengan orangnya. Dan saatnya saya kuliah, walaupun belajar mungkin ya 9 bulan karena sana semesternya nggak sepanjang di sini. Saya tambah heran kok dalam 1 tahun ajaran saya masih belum bisa bicara dasar berbahasa Arab. Maka saya berharap saya bisa nyontohkan kepada kalian kemampuan saya dari cara saya mendekati pelajaran bahasa Indonesia. Dengan ini, mari kita alih dikit and let's speak a little more technically about some of the tips and tricks that you can use to help yourself be more effective in studying English and any other language. So, one moment, I have a document to share. So, here I have a number of ideas for learning a language effectively. These are things that I've put together from a few different sources, and I've reinforced these and organized these based on my own experiences. Number 1, surround yourself with your target languages. Like I said, take a bath in your target language. Maybe you can't do it all the time. That's okay. But as often as possible, surround yourself with your target language. When I was studying Bahasa Indonesia, I pushed myself. I told myself, John, 2 times a week, you are going to go out, you're going to go to a warung, you're going to buy something to eat or something to drink, and you're going to talk to people. And, I'm in the environment. It's very convenient. There's no better way to learn a language than to go to the country. But like I said, especially now, it's very difficult to go to a new country. I was planning a trip to go to America this year, and myself, I couldn't do it because the flights were canceled. But online, you can watch videos on YouTube. You can listen to the radio. You can listen to radio programs that are talking about news. You can listen to music. You can watch movies. If you have the ability to, you can get TV programs, particularly in English. It's quite easy. There's National Geographic and a long list of other television channels that are available in English. The more you expose yourself to the language, the faster you will be able to use it. Now, I need to say something about this. It's really important. Ini sangat penting. Saatnya ada di lingkungan berbahasa yang Anda pelajari. when you're in the environment where you're learning your language, Anda tidak boleh terlalu santai. Yaitu Anda harus tetap fokus di mana Anda harus membukakan akal untuk pertanyaan, apa artinya kata ini? Apa mungkin artinya ini? Supaya bisa menangkap. Kalau terlalu santai, Anda akan kadang-kadang cuek apa yang Anda dengarkan. Saya kasih contoh, saya ada kenalan, dia selalu style lagu-lagu Amerika. She always plays songs in English on the radio while she's in the kitchen cooking. This person can't speak English at all. This person has been listening to songs in English for years and years and years and years and years and years. But she's so relaxed about it that she hasn't tried to catch the meaning of what she's listening to, and she hasn't learned any of it. So, jadi kalau Anda dengerin misalnya radio, lagu-lagu di radio, jangan terlalu santai. Mikir, apa ini? Bukakan diri untuk maksud yang ada, yang terkandung di bahasanya. Jangan santai-santai sampai gak mikir. Harus tetap, ya saya ngomong, jangan terlalu sibuk mikir, tapi harus ada sedikit gerakan di posisi akal untuk ya menyerap, tidak boleh 100% pasif. Harus ada sedikit pemikiran, ini masuk di mana? Ini masuk di mana? Jangan, ini artinya apa? Jangan. Ini apa? Cukup. So, you've got to pay attention to it. Harus diperhatikan. Tak boleh diabaikan. Harus diperhatikan saatnya Anda menggunakan media berbahasa Inggris. But when you do this, you will automatically learn how to use good pronunciation. Ini kita dengerin lagu berbahasa Inggris, video berbahasa Inggris, dan terutama film dan acara TV berbahasa Inggris. Kebanyakan ini dari orang seperti saya, penutur asli bahasa Inggris. Jadi yang kita ngomong ya itu apa ucapannya, pronunciation udah benar. Kita udah pakai tata bahasa. Kalimat kita udah lengkap. Dan tata bahasa kita, apa kosakata kita udah luas. Udah ya itu kita pelajari bahasa dari buku. Kita dapat ya daftar kosakata. Kita pelajari bahasa dari media, dari orang bicara secara alami di apa situasinya, kosakatanya tambah luas. Ini kadang-kadang jadi halangan bagi pelajar. Jangan sampai ini jadi halangan. Karena kalau Anda terlalu hati-hati dengan seluas apa kosakatanya, jangan terlalu luas, lama-lama kosakatanya akan terbatas. Dan Anda akan harus lebih kuat berusaha untuk menambah kosakata. So, you automatically learn good pronunciation, sentence structures, and therefore grammar. The grammar is already there. When we speak, we don't think, well, I'm going to talk about something that happened in the past and it finished in the past, and so I need to use the this, the that tense. No, we don't think that way. It's automatic. It's in our subconscious. And this is where we need to not translate. Learning language, when it is effective, it makes it to our subconscious. Kalau kita, saatnya kita belajar bahasa, saatnya kita sebagai penutur asli bahasa Inggris, bahasa apa saja, saatnya kita mengucapkan sesuatu, kita nggak sibuk-sibuk mikir, oh seharusnya kita pakai tenses yang mana, pakai kosakata yang apa. Enggak, karena sudah masuk di bawah kesadaran kita, yaitu pelajaran bahasa yang cukup, yang lengkap, yaitu udah ada ngefek sampai ke bawah sadaran, di mana kita bisa bicara dengan lincah. Karena kita nggak terlalu sibuk mikir, oh ini seharusnya, ya nah. Bukan saya ngalahkan berpikir saat bicara. Tapi kalau kita sangat sibuk mikir kosakata sampai kita lamban dengan jawabannya, itu mempengaruhi kemajuan kita. Jadi kalau kita membiasakan diri dengan bahasa yang dicontoh dari orang penutur asli bahasa Inggris atau bahasa apa saja, kita akan tambah cepat. Karena itu, kalau kita perhatikan tapi jangan terlalu banyak mikir, akan masuk ke bawah sadaran. Dan itu ya hal yang pada alim ada cukup banyak jalan dapat ditelusuri. Okay? You can learn through observation. This is the menyaksikan part. You observe a situation, you observe what's happening, what, who, what, when, where, and why words are being used. This helps you deduce without thinking about a translation. It helps you think, okay, well, in this situation, at this time, and these people, they say these over and over again. It's language, it means something. And it's related to the situation. And we're very smart. We're very intelligent creatures. We can make some amazing discoveries just by trying. So, also you can shadow the language. By shadowing the language, I mean you listen to somebody say something in the language and you just say it. You say the same thing. It's really easy with media in the English language, because they're not listening to you. There's a screen. You're watching a video and you're just repeating what they're saying in the video. It will help you. It might sound crazy. Don't worry about crazy. It can help you. So you can repeat the language that you hear. You can also, when you're trying by yourself to think of how to say something, talk to yourself. Again, it sounds crazy, and I know that's not normal for Indonesians. Orang-orang Indonesia ngomong sendiri, jangan gila. Jangan salah, ini salah satu cara yang sangat baik untuk pelajari bahasa yang baru. Ya, cari tempat mungkin di mana Anda sendirian dan coba ucapkan sesuatu. Berusahalah. You can also read out loud. Ya, Anda sudah cukup biasa dengan tesnya. Bacakanlah secara apa? Kita ketemu keterbatasan bahasa Indonesia saya. Read it out loud. You have a text, sit down, read it, and read it out loud. Listen to your mouth. Especially things like song lyrics are very helpful. It helps you develop your pronunciation. It can help you speak faster. So, another thing, find a language partner. On the internet, it's not hard anymore. We have things, social media allow you to connect with people. You exchange personal meeting IDs if you're using Zoom or other, whatever platform you're using, and you can have a video call with somebody who's trying to learn the language like you. And so you practice using the language with somebody else. You practice using the language, you develop your skills in it. Praktek dah ada dua. Itu sangat penting kan. Anda mau belajar bahasa, tidak boleh dah ada praktek. Dan kalau Anda bisa dapat kawan praktek, istimewa, asyik. Jadi, okay, next major point. Create a study schedule and set some goals. When you practice a little every day, you'll be able to remember more than if you cram it in once in a while. Remember, when I was learning Bahasa Indonesia, I told myself, you got to go out at least 2 times every week. I'd tell this to myself. I'd look in the mirror and say, John, you got to go 2 times a week, and you're going to go talk to people. That was part of my study schedule. I'd do that, and I would go to prayers, and all of this stuff kept me regular in learning the language. Come up with some sort of schedule. Every day is best. Every day might not be practical, but it needs to be at least 2 or 3 times a week. The more, the better. And creating a study schedule helps you be consistent. Say, okay, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to take half an hour and I'm going to study. Half an hour, from 4 o'clock to 4:30. Another thing, set SMART goals. When we say set SMART goals, be specific. Not, I want to be able to speak with a native speaker. That's a good thing. It's a good goal, but it's hard to work on. You need a specific goal. I'm going to learn 5 new verbs. You get a word list out, you find 5 verbs. Measurable. You can measure, okay, I've learned this verb, I've learned this verb. I got 4 verbs, I can measure it. I didn't quite make 5, and so I'm going to keep working on that last one. It's got to be specific, it's got to be measurable, it's got to be achievable. I have a great goal. I want to fly to the moon. Yeah, not in this lifetime. That goal is not achievable. So you've got to be careful about the goal that you set. Is it something you actually can do? Start small if you have to. Make goals that you can do, that you can achieve. As you get better at making goals and you get better at achieving those goals, make them bigger. Relevant. I'll learn 5 verbs. If it's 5 verbs talking about scientific procedures and you're an art student, that might not be the best way to practice. It might not be the best way to study. You need to focus on work. And when I say work, I mean study. You need to focus on things to study that means something to you, means something to you as a person, not just long lists of words that aren't related to the field that you work in, aren't related to interacting with people. You have to be kind of careful and timely. You have to set yourself a time limit to achieve your goal. So another idea is to make your goal public. If you tell your friends about your goal or your family, you can create emotional responsibility for yourself. Oh, I told my dad I was going to learn 5 verbs by the end of the month. At the end of the month, he's going to ask me, so what were the verbs you learned? And I've got to be able to answer it. It's my dad, your friends or whoever. So if you tell somebody about your goal, it helps you believe in the goal. It helps you follow through with the goal. Kalau Anda beritahu kepada teman kalau salah satu anggota keluarganya apa tujuanmu, apa goalmu, ya Anda akan lebih taat pada goal itu. Make it fun. Use the sorts of media you normally consume. Do you normally watch a TV show? Do you normally listen to music? Do you normally watch the news? Whatever media you normally use, find it in your target language because it's already something you like. You can learn songs by a singer that you enjoy. You can focus on one specific TV series that you think is interesting, and you can focus on it and you can learn it from front to back. Now we can find TV series online. We can now download season 1, season 2, season 3, so on and so forth. Sit down, season 1, go through it, get so that you can understand what they're talking about in each episode. Season 2, and so on and so forth. You can also create a diary. A diary is kind of a fun thing. It's relaxed. You just write down a little bit of what you're doing. Maybe at the end of a lesson or an end of a study period, you sit down and you just write a little bit about your language, or what you're doing with it, how you're doing. Write your goals in it. You can do this in a blog online, or you could do this on a social media account. This encourages you to produce the language. It encourages you to be creative. Who doesn't like being creative? Try. Do something new with it. It's exciting. It's a little piece of you in that language, and you feel proud about that. Also, if you create a blog or use a social media account to regularly record your production and it can be video and it can be in text. But if you use these things that are online, you can also get feedback from other people who read your stuff. They can help you out. Don't be afraid of criticism. A lot of criticism is there to help you find what's wrong so you can fix it. So I've got to be just about out of time. I'm going to skip through the last two really quickly. So number 4, get professional. You can enroll in a regular course and it will help you by introducing you to peers, giving you a schedule. That schedule is really important. Do it over and over and over and over again. It's the practice of it. And it will also give you direct access to professional guidance. You get a teacher who understands the language a lot better than you do, and you can ask them, and they can also give you feedback. You can also record yourself and compare your recording with the sound of a native speaker. And in the end, you've got to be realistic. And there are a couple of different things to think about with this. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. We learn from our mistakes. Jangan takut membuat kesalahan. Kita pasti kalau belajar bahasa akan membuat kesalahan. Dan kita harus terima bahwa itu akan terjadi dan kita harus bangga menggunakan kejadian itu untuk memperbaiki kemampuan kita, untuk memperbaiki kosakata kita, untuk memperbaiki tata bahasa kita. Kalau kita tidak membuatkan salah, berarti kita tidak berusaha, berarti kita tidak praktek. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. And burnout happens. Kita akan jadi capek. Kita akan plateau. Itu kita belajar. Kemampuan kita, kita faham luar biasa. Lama-lama, ini membosankan. Kita bagaimana bisa lanjut dari tempat ini. Ya, kita harus tetap sabar dan tetap berusaha. Kalau kita, walaupun ada hari di jadwal pelajaran kita tidak mau. Kita udah bosan. Kita udah beberapa hal lain yang kita memikirkan. Kalau kita bangkit dan menjalankan walaupun kita tidak ingin, kalau kita menjalankan pelajaran pada hari itu, hari yang kita sebetulnya tidak mau, it's a bad day, itu akan memperkuatkan keinginan kita. itu akan memperkuatkan kerajinan kita dalam pelajaran. Jadi, itu yang terbaik. Kalau kita udah bosan, tetap belajar. Karena itu akan buka pintu ke depan dan kita akan tingkat. Tadi saya jadi bosan, tidak mau lanjut, tapi saya tetap jalan-jalan. Dan saya sudah bisa ini. Itu biasa. Dan ya, tidak garis lurus pelajarannya. Dan kita harus sabar dengan bagian yang agak bosan, yang agak merata. Karena itu biasa. Tiap orang belajar bahasa mengalami fitur-fitur ini. I think I've gone way over my 40 minutes. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to your questions in the question and answer session. Mr. Wijaya, I turn over the time back to you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Pak John. Well, those are very excellent tips, especially for our freshmen here. Most of the participants are our freshmen here. Very excellent tips, a very helpful one. Well, kawan-kawan mahasiswa baru, kawan-kawan maba, dear freshmen, and also the participants, we have listened to Pak John's tips as well as trick. What I want to say about those tips and tricks is that very excellent, very practical, and yet efficient. The tips and tricks that has not been arranged based only on the theory now, but also based on the long time experience. Jadi kepada para kawan-kawan maba, the freshmen, please understand and practice, use those tips and trick. Silakan digunakan tips dan trik yang telah dipaparkan oleh Pak John. Karena apa yang dipaparkan oleh Pak John bukan hanya berdasarkan pada teori, tapi berdasarkan pada praktek. Dan itu telah dibuktikan oleh Pak John. How? Pak John telah memaparkan 40% paparan beliau dalam bahasa Indonesia. In bahasa, it means that we witness ourselves. Kita sudah menyaksikan how Pak John master our bahasa. Well, of course, Pak John is good at English. He is a native speaker. We are not surprised about that one. Jadi karena Pak John adalah native speaker, born in America, ya pasti bisa bahasa Inggris. Tapi ketika Pak John memaparkan dalam bahasa Indonesia, nah di situ kita tahu bahwa his tips, his tricks works for him. Kalau tips dan itu berhasil untuk Pak John, pastinya akan berhasil juga untuk kita, if we want to try. Nah, the next speaker, as I told you, another excellent speaker is Pak Suhartawan. Therefore, for Pak Suhartawan, the time is yours now for the next 40 minutes.
Thank you, Pak Kusuma, and thank you, everyone. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? I hope that all of you are in a good condition today. Well, everybody, I don't know why what Pak John explained and what Pak John has already delivered is similar to what I'm going to talk to you. And you know that we never met before to match between the idea that I have and Pak John and the idea that I have and Pak John idea. But I was very surprised when Pak John opened, and then Pak John tried to explain to you some of the method and also strategies how to learn English effectively. Okay, so I think that you are going to see what are the similarities between my slide and also Pak John's. Okay, and then talking about Pak Kusuma told you that I'm an experienced teacher. Actually, no, Pak Kusuma, I'm not an experienced teacher. I'm still your student, okay? And then because I'm your student, you're also my mentor. You have already helped me a lot to improve my English, okay? So everyone here, what I want to tell you is that Pak Kusuma is my teacher when I was still in bachelor degree in S1. Thank you, Pak Kusuma. Ladies and gentlemen, maba, mahasiswa baru yang saya hormati, before I show you the slide, I would like to say to tell you my empirical or my experiment at the first time I learned English. I learned English at the first time in 1992 when I was still in first grade of senior high, and then at that time I took an English course in one of the city in Sidoarjo. At that time, what my expectation was, I wanted to go to the United States, Pak John. I learned English at the first time because I have a goal. Someday I wanted to go to United States of America. Why I want to do that? Because one of my friends invited me to go to United States to work there, to earn much money, and to make my life better. Because I really know that my life at that time was not very good. So I wanted to change my life to be better. Okay, so that's my my dream why I learned English at the first time. When I was very young, I was very active in some English conversation club, in some English activities. I didn't like when I had to stay at home only without doing nothing and then without learning English. I spoke English almost every day, everyone. At that time when I was still, let's say that 17 or 18, okay, I never quiet or I never stopped speaking when I was still very young. I mean, speaking English with myself, by myself. I didn't have any partner because I only got a partner when I was in a school, at school, or in English course. And I didn't have any partner at the time. But John Wright, please speak by yourself like a crazy person. And I did it, Pak John. I did it. Okay. And then when I was in a university, I was very active in some of English program in the radio station. And I was a broadcaster in one of the radio station program in Sidoarjo. And then it is a social activity, so I was not paid, but I was very happy. Why I was very happy? Because I can use my English, I can share my English to other person who need it, okay? And I didn't get any payment, but I was very excited at that time. I agree with Pak John's statement, everyone, para maba sekalian, bahwa belajar bahasa itu jangan takut. Jangan sekali-sekali takut salah. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. The young hartawan, I myself, I was not afraid to make a mistake when I was still young, when I tried to speak English, even with a native speaker. And many native speakers gave me many suggestions and also advice when I was a mistake at that time. And I was a very, very fortunate. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, para hadirin sekalian, everybody can speak English. I believe that. And also my student, you can speak English. What makes me sad is that sometimes your speaking is not acceptable by the standard English. Once again, I repeat, your speaking is not acceptable by standard English. What is the consequences? The consequences is not all the native speaker, even your teacher, does not understand what is the meaning or what do you want to say actually. It's quite hard, okay? So what I want to tell you here is that when you come to the Faculty of Letters in English department, I want to help you to improve the quality of your English. I know that I'm still learning up to now. I have been teaching English many years, but I think I'm still learning. Remember that? Hartawan still learning English. And I know when Pak John is listening what I'm talking right now, in his heart, Pak John is going to say that Hartawan has many flawless and mistake. Please don't tell to this webinar, Pak John. You can tell me later after this webinar. Thank you, Pak John. No, it's kidding. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to show you the slide that I have already prepared. Pak John told you how to study English, to study English, how to study speaking, reading, listening, and also writing. But at this moment, I will try to focus only on speaking. Why I try to focus on speaking? Because most of students understand when I'm talking like this in English. But when I ask my student to speak English, they say, I couldn't. Because what Pak John said, automatization is the big problem in learning a foreign language. What does it mean by the automatization? You just focus on the grammar, okay? So when you try to speak, your brain and your mouth is not related each other. It's too far. You try to arrange the sentence first before you are talking because you are afraid to make a mistake, and then when you try to produce a sentence, it takes time, a very long time. That's why it's quite hard to speak in English. So, ladies and gentlemen, this moment I try to focus on how to speak English. Let me share you the screen that I have already prepared. Okay, Pak John told you every time you do something, every time you study something, you must have a goal. You must have a dream. And I ask you right now, actually, what do you think of this picture first? It's quite interesting, huh? What about this picture? Okay. Another picture. All right. The last picture. Okay. What can you conclude here? The conclusion is you must have a goal, and every person has a different goal why she or he has to study English. Okay, Let me elaborate it one by one. Do you want to do number one because, sorry, you study English because you want to do number one? Maybe. You study English because you want to do number two to get to do number two? Perhaps. Or number three? Why not? Number four? Well, I think so. Number five? Yes. What about number six? Okay. I believe all of you here, especially for the mother, you are in the young, very young, and your future it's very long. You must have to determine, to decide what is your goal. Learning English once again. If you have not any skill of good English, then what happened? This is what happened to you. Miss those opportunities. And I know that you don't want to miss those opportunities because you're flawless, because you don't understand or you don't master, you don't know a foreign language, you don't master a foreign language, any kind of foreign language. But because I'm teaching English, I try to say that if your English is not good, you are going to miss these opportunities to get number one until number six, probably until number seven or number eight. Okay. So if you are talking about my goal, I think I like to do number three when I was learning English at the first time. But right now it changed. Okay, the question is, how many years have you learned English? 6, 9, or perhaps 12 years? You can answer by yourself, and you can try to account right now how many years have you learned English. In my calculation, because you learn English when you are still in elementary school, probably right now you have learned English for about 10 or 12 years. Now, the big question appears. Are you happy with your speaking ability? There are 3 answers. Number 1 is yes, I'm happy with my speaking. Number 2, no, I'm not happy. Or the last one probably, maybe. Who can answer this is you yourself. Jadi yang bisa jawab ini adalah Anda semua para maba. The last question. Do you want to speak English? Do you want to speak English better? I do believe 100%, I believe that the answer is yes. Especially who joined this webinar is going to say, yes, 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 I want to speak English better. What you have to do to make your speak English better? Number 1, determine your goal. If you have no goal, you have no objection, tidak punya tujuan, you don't have to study. You don't have to study English, you don't have to study mathematics, you don't have to study history and so forth. Before you go somewhere, you must have to determine what is the goal. Determine your goal. Number 2, study it. It here is the language. Study it by yourself. You know, most people say that They don't have much money to go to college. They don't have much money to buy a book. They don't have much money to, let's say that, to study in a course. So you can study by yourself. It's depend on the person. Number 3, study the language, study it in an English courses. You can study, if you have enough money, you can study English in English course. Number 4, join an English conversation club, or perhaps you want to join many other English activity, whatever. Okay, according to Donald Ari, long time ago, I still remember that this is the 5 elements in speaking English. If you want to speak a foreign language, or if you want to speak a language, you must have 5 elements like what I wrote in the slide. What is number 1? Vocabulary or vocabulary. Pak John say vocabulary, but some of you say vocabulary. Okay, no problem. Nomor 1 adalah kosakata. Tanpa kosakata Anda tidak akan bisa ngomong. Trust me. And I think that you believe it. You are in my side. Number 2, pronunciation. It doesn't mean that because I'm teaching pronunciation, so I show the pronunciation as number 2 there. But this is based on a scientific research. I'm going to tell you why pronunciation is very crucial in learning a language. Number 3, grammar. Many students, feel scared. They are scared of grammar. And I'm going to tell you how to minimize your afraidness, or how to minimize your worries about grammar later. Number 4 is comprehension. As I told you, when you are speaking with me, or when you are speaking with a native speaker, and then the native speaker never learned Indonesian language before, but probably there are many, there are some, not many, there are some misunderstanding between what you mean and what I mean. Okay, I ever read a story from, I don't remember, from one of the newspaper, dealing with comprehension in learning a language. Jadi saya akan bercerita suatu kisah. Ada seorang perempuan, cewek, bekerja di perusahaan luar negeri, perusahaan asing. Oke. Nah, pada saat jam seperti saat ini mau menjelang pukul 11:30, itu bosnya bertanya kepada si cewek ini, kebetulan ceweknya ini Muslim. Dia bilang, bosnya bilang, why don't you pray duhur? Kenapa kamu tidak sholat duhur? Si cewek ini bingung mau jawab apa. Akhirnya dengan terpaksa dia bilang, because it's time. Because it's my time, sir. Natifnya tambah bingung lagi. Yes, it's time for you to go to the mosque. It's time for you to pray. I'm sorry, sir. What I mean is, kemudian ceweknya bilang lagi, what I mean is, I come to the moon, sir. What? Excuse me? What did you say? I come to the moon, sir. Oh, no, sir. The moon come to me. Okay, so this is one of the importance of comprehension. Akhirnya ada temannya yang membantu, bilang bahwa apa yang dimaksud cewek itu. Tapi sebelum ada temannya yang membantu, before one of her friend help her, okay, the boss asking again to his staff, excuse me, are you astronaut? Karena bosnya tadi bilang, yang ceweknya tadi bilang I come to the moon, moon come to me. Padahal maksudnya adalah saya sekarang sedang waktunya. Waktunya apa? Saya kira Anda tahu kan? Oke. Nah, itu salah satu contoh saja bahwa comprehension itu penting. Harusnya si perempuan itu bilang saja, I'm sorry, I have a period. Permasalahannya terjadi lagi, apakah sopan atau tidak ketika seorang perempuan begitu bilang ke laki-laki, nanti Pak John yang bisa jawab. I don't know exactly. Okay? So, now that's the requirement. Now let's come to how to practice. Now I have 10 strategies here. Look at that. I think I got many similarities with Pak John. I don't want to say that you know, we met before to make the same idea like this, but I don't know why when Pak John explained or elaborate his presentation, and then I become aware that why is it the same with my presentation? Look at that. Number one is add your vocabulary. Pronounce the word correctly. I'm going to elaborate it in the next slide. You don't have to be worried. And then speak when you touch, look at, do, use, wear. Learn the common expression. Use all number one until number 4 when you are speaking English, not number 1 until number 3, but number 1 until number 4. Describe something into several information like name, color, price, owner, possession, etc. And then speak English alone or with friend every day. Once again, I would like to underline, if you want to speak English well, you must speak English every day. Probably 5 minutes, they will be very sufficient for you to sharpen your English. Look at that here. Don't be afraid to make mistake when speaking. Number 9, listening in English music. Sorry, this should be listen, not listening. And watch an English movie. What do you think? Can you find the similarities between my idea and Pak John's ideas? Good. I believe you can find it. You can find them. And then how to do? Some students think that by having many vocabularies, you can speak. I agree, but sometimes I don't. Why? Because the vocabularies that you learn sometimes, actually, you don't really need it. I mean, you rarely use that vocabulary. So my recommendation here, why don't you try to learn, to know, to understand something, item, activity that you touch. You touch. If you don't touch it, you don't have to know that. What else? You look at every day. Like in front of me now, in my table, I find some items like glasses, watch, snack, book, and so forth. I look at almost every day because these items are on my table. So I have to know how to say in English. And then something that you do every day. What I do every day: eat, drink, listen, watch, study, and many more, okay? And then something that you use. What is it? Your gadget, your laptop, your cell phone, maybe your, probably your, let's say your remote control, your car, and then something that you wear, sesuatu yang Anda pakai. Clothes, trousers, what else? Belt, tie, you have to know that. Jadi sesuatu yang Anda pakai hampir setiap hari, Anda harus tahu. Shoes, I give you example here like cell phone, air conditioners, bicycle, garage, and so forth. Next, another recommendation, don't force yourself to memorize the word that you don't touch, look at, do, use, wear. For example, what? Short. You know, short or sword, gun, bullet. I believe that you don't do that. Except you are a policeman. Maybe you are going to do that. If you are a civil, if you are not a policeman, you don't use this one. And you don't have to know that. It's not a must for you to know such vocabularies like this. Okay, let me go on to the pronunciation. I want you to pronounce this word correctly. So after you know this word, now your responsibility is how to pronounce this word correctly. What I mean by correctly mean when you're speaking in English with a native or with other people from other countries, there is no misunderstanding, and based on the standard of English, it is correct. Like in my experience, this word always pronounced incorrectly by many of my students. Maybe not your student, but my student. Long time ago, not now. Like the word this one. Many students is going to pronounce question, but this is not question, but question. This is not suggestion, but suggestion. This is not examine, but examined. Okay, and so forth and so forth. The problem is sometimes I remind the student that they, I don't know, I ask them to make a special note only for my subject, and by having special note, they don't make the same mistake again. Some students do it, but some students didn't do that or don't do that. But it's okay. I have already reminded them. And then after that, you can check the pronunciation of the word from your gadget. Pak John told you that right now it's quite easy to learn a foreign language. You just open your gadget, your tablet, and then your cell phone, and then you try to find a difficult word and then how to pronounce, and then don't forget to repeat. Once again, don't forget to repeat. Here I say practice to say them over and over again until you think that, okay, my pronunciation is close to correct. Not correctly, 100% it's okay, but close to correct. Number 3, speak when you touch and so forth. So when what I'm doing right now, when I was young, I always say what I am doing. For example, now I'm speaking English, now I'm sitting on the chair, and then in front of me there are many, let's say the snacks, and also there is iced tea. I always try to speak when I look, when I touch, when I use, when I wear. For example, I like meatball, so in front of me there is a meatball, and I'll say that I like meatball. I watch Cartoon Network every day. That's where when I was watching a TV, and then I try to say to myself or to practice my English, I'm going to say I watch Cartoon Network every day. My room does not have any aircon. So for example, like this one, this room does not have an aircon, and so forth. Jadi intinya kalau Anda melihat apa yang Anda lihat, Anda yang sentuh, dan lain sebagainya. Kalau tadi belajar kosakata, sekarang bagaimana kosakata itu dalam bentuk kalimat. Tidak cukup hanya dalam kosakata. Okay. I hope that I still have a time. Now, number 4, learn the common expression. And this is, you always learn it in an English book, how to say a greeting, and then how to show sympathy, and then how to say compliment and so forth. This is only, you know, you can memorize it, but sometimes you forgot it. Why? Because when you are in the real conversation and then your friend got a bad story, you don't reply at all in English. You should say that, sorry to hear that, I'm sorry, okay, I feel sorry, and so forth. Jadi Anda harus pakai itu ketika Anda sudah tahu idiom atau ekspresi itu ketika Anda berbicara dengan orang lain dan orang lain mengalami. Okay. And then like greeting, saya sering greeting seperti ini ke mahasiswa, to my student, and my student, you know, what make me shocked is my student reply or respond my question by saying, I am reading a book. I am reading a book. Well, it's, you know, and then I repeat again, I repeat, how are you doing? The answer is also the same. But when I change here, with how are you, my student understand it. What is the conclusion? Sometimes Indonesian people, sometimes I myself only learn one expression for all. And then when the expression have a synonym, I don't know that. That's a very ridiculous, right? Okay, now let's come to this one. Okay, use all when you're speaking. Okay, this one. This is what I did when I was still young. I tried to make a sentence, and then I tried to change a sentence into positive sentence, negative sentence, and interrogative sentence. So by this skill, our English will be very, you know, not flat. You have the variety of strategy in learning English. Jadi Anda ketika Anda ketemu satu kalimat, Anda bisa merubah-rubah kalimat itu dalam bentuk positif kah, pertanyaan, atau negatif barangkali. Okay. For example, this one. Look at that. I only have two things or two items. Number one is cell phone. Number two is bag. Bagi orang yang bagi pembelajar yang pasif, dia hanya bilang, this is a cell phone, this is a bag. Tapi bagi pembelajar yang aktif, you can produce 25 sentences from this one. So totally, if I have two, you can produce 50 sentences. Let me give you examples. Synonym, you can make it into positive, negative, and interrogative. This is a cell phone. This is not a cell phone. Is this a cell phone? What is it? How many? 4. All right. The cell phone is black and red. The cell phone is not black and red. Is the cell phone black and red? What color is the cell phone? And so forth. You can do that by yourself. Okay. And number 7, speak English alone or with your friend every day, at least 5 minutes a day. Well. The question is, have you done it, my students? Yes, I don't know. You can answer by yourself. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. I don't have to repeat again. I don't have to repeat to explain it. Number 9, listen to English music. Watch an English movie. Why do you have to listen to English music? I like singing. I want to tell you that I like music, all kind of music. And I like also English music. Why we have to know, why we have to listen in English music? Because you learn in English. So what you get? You are going to get new vocabularies, many new vocabularies, maybe some vocabularies, new words, I mean. And also, you also learn expression, new expression, idiom probably. What about movie? You can learn new vocabulary, new expression again, idiom, and also culture. Okay, so Pak John told you that when you are listening music, don't so relax, you know, you just enjoy the music without learning something. You have to change right now. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, now it's time for Pak Kusuma to handle this webinar again. Thank you, Pak Kusuma. Time is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Pak Hartawan. Ladies and gentlemen, the freshmen and also the participants. Oh yeah, I would like also to welcome the alumni who have been very kindly joining our webinar today. On behalf of Faculty of Letters, I welcome you for the alumni. Now, from Pak Hartawan, we got also very valuable tips and tricks, not only to what to do dealing with mastering English, but also how to do it. It means that what we are about to do right now and from now on is that to practice it. Practice, practice, and practice. Hopefully, we'll do that after this webinar is over. Now, we come to the third session, open question session. Therefore, all of the participants, especially the freshmen, terutama kawan-kawan mahasiswa baru, to ask any question to both the speaker, or you may share your experience in learning English in this time. It means that, well, you may share your difficulty so that both speakers can give you solution, can give you a comment on your difficulty or anything you want to say. Of course, you may deliver it in bahasa, boleh menggunakan bahasa Indonesia, but you will also allow to use English if you want to, so that you can practice your English. Now, I would like to give a chance to the first question from the participant. For those who are eager to ask the question, please unmute your speaker, mention your name, and mention whom you address your question to. To the first speaker, Pak John, or to the second speaker, Pak Hartawan. Well, the chance is yours now. You may unmute your speaker.
Excuse me, Pak Kusuma.
Yeah.
Yes, perhaps I can also using chat here. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So the participant may also ask the question by using the chat chamber.
Dalam bahasa Indonesia saja, enggak apa-apa. Silakan.
Silakan, boleh dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Nanti yang bertanya nilainya saya tambah di pronunciation, Pak Kusuma.
Okay, so the point for those who ask the question. Jadi ada.
Actually, I want to ask some question.
Okay.
Okay.
Silakan, Deborah.
So hello, my name is Deborah. So I want to ask about, before I heard that we can learn English from song and from the from music or from movie, but sometimes we heard a lot of mispronunciation in the music or in the subtitle of the movie, or maybe we heard that a lot of a slang word in there. For us who a beginner in English, it's a little bit hard for knows what is the meaning of the songs and the music. So what is the tips or tricks to feedback. There is how to pronounce in a good way and on how to understand the meaning of the words. Just that. Thank you.
Okay, so Deborah, whom do you address your question to? Whom do you address your question to?
Two of the speakers, Mr. John, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. John, because he mentioned a lot of that things. We can learn everything and everything in the music and in a movie. So yeah, I address to Mr. John.
That is an
So sorry,
excellent
Mr. John.
question. Thank you, Deborah. That's a very good question because there are a lot of problems with subtitles, especially. You buy cheap CDs or cheap DVDs around here, and the subtitles, if they're not bad, they're totally disconnected from what's actually being said. So you have to be really careful with subtitles. Subtitles are useful, especially if you can be sure that they actually represent the language being used in the movie. If you go and buy one of those 200,000 rupiah copies of a movie as opposed to the 6,000 rupiah copy, the subtitles will probably be better. And the subtitles can help you, but in my opinion, you really need to focus on listening. Listen first, and then you can work on the development of your understanding of the written language. The subtitles can help you if they're accurate. If you don't know, you might do better to stay away from it. When it comes to music, contemporary music has a lot more slang in it than older music. Contemporary music doesn't always use standard pronunciations. Don't be afraid of the non-standard pronunciations because they're common. Just because it's not perfect textbook English doesn't mean it's not English. It is still English. Just because it's not perfect textbook language doesn't mean it's not something you should know. They will talk about things that are common for people to talk about. But that being said, like I said, more contemporary music, especially since the end of the 1990s till now, the lyrics are just not that good. They're more into repeating the same thing over and over and over and over again, or they chop it up a little bit. If you listen to music from the 1980s, the 1970s, and the 1960s, the Beatles is a very good example. A lot of people have gotten tired of listening to the Beatles because they were very good. People played them a lot. The language is very clear. And because the language is very clear, the language is very standard. Using the Beatles, for example, is very good for helping you develop your language. It's old. Yes, okay, it's old schmold. Our best books are old books. Now, our best leaders are old leaders. So don't be afraid of something that's a little bit old. So that's my advice to you. Avoid really poppy stuff, avoid stuff. Rap has its place. Rap is a wonderful art form. Rap uses a lot of slang. Rap twists the language and mispronounces it to make it follow the rhythm. That's okay. It's an art form. It's not necessarily the best tool to use for learning language. More storytelling, the more a song tells a story, the better it is for learning language. And older music did it better. So I hope I answered your question.
Okay, well, thank you, Pak John. So then focusing on listening is very important to do that. Now, I would like to offer a chance to Johannes Arif Santoso. Johannes Arif Santoso, if you have any question to us, so please do, or any comment, or you want to share your experience in learning English, please do. Johannes, you may unmute your speaker. Speakernya dinyalakan dulu, di-on-kan dulu. Suaranya belum terdengar, Johannes.
Check the up arrow next to the mute button and check your microphone selection.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Hello,
Okay,
can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes,
okay, hi John. I've spoken with you earlier. I just want to ask you, you know how we have the daily English language and also like the proper English language? If you learn from the movie and also the music, you often learn like the daily English one. Do you think it's a good idea to learn from a movie? Because a lot of the words are like improper English and also not like the formal one. What do you think about that topic?
All right, thank you, Johannes. You need to understand, if you're going to study Javanese, you need to understand that Javanese has different levels of vocabulary. If you don't understand that from the beginning, you will have a lot of trouble learning Javanese. English and just about every other language in the world has something similar. We have slang, which falls near ngoko if you're speaking Javanese. We also have a whole class of words that, they're called curse words.
Yeah,
you need to understand that they are curse words. And so it's all these things that get deleted in normal speech. When you're watching a movie that's rated R or even PG-13, they will generally have quite a few curse words. If you're watching a movie from America that's rated PG, it will have no curse words. If you watch a news program, it won't have any curse words unless it's a specific, if it's something you see online and they're telling the news. But standard television programs stay away from curse words. They use slang, but using slang is like using Soroboyoan. And if you don't know Soroboyoan and you're in Surabaya, you're in trouble. It's important to know slang. Now, the difference between common everyday English, and what we might call standard English is quite small. It's not at all like, here I use the example again of you've got ngoko, and people will usually on their day-to-day interactions, they'll use ngoko. Ngoko is quite a jump down from kromo. Kromo, what is in English, more or less kromo, is very broad. Most of the language falls in what you could call the kromo level. There's a little bit up here in the kromo ingil, and there's a little, there's a fair amount down here in the slang and curse words, down in the non-formal and dirty language. But the majority of it is standard. And so even though you're going to be exposed to slang in movies, in television broadcasts, and in songs, it's worth learning because they are words that we use. They are words that we use to interact with each other. And the goal of learning a language is to learn how to communicate with somebody. So don't be afraid of it.
Okay, well, I understand that it will help you to learn more of your vocabulary, but won't it be bad for you if you want to learn like a proper English structure? Like, will it be a beneficial thing to do to learn from a movie instead of like proper textbooks, for example, because as you might understand, in our daily basis, we don't really use a proper English structure. Like when you say, "Oh, thank you," people are supposed to say you're welcome, but in practice, you usually just say, "Oh, okay, no problem," or blah 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 blah, something like that.
This is the touchy-feely side of language. This is a side of language that doesn't like rules. Some of language does very well with rules, especially grammar. So that you know, everybody, grammar is an analysis tool. Grammar helps you analyze language. If you don't know language to begin with, you're not going to do any good learning grammar. Learning the regular way that people communicate, learning the regular patterns already has the grammar in it. And it's important. And so the other thing there is, if we take the example of Bahasa Indonesia has a lot of flexibility to not use the grammar. You don't have to use the imbuhan. In English, if you don't use imbuhan, if you don't use affixes, you will not make sense. You will speak gibberish. People will not understand you. So again, the language that you see in media, in movies, in songs is not very far from standard language. Standard language might be what you encounter in a magazine or a newspaper. You could use those to make sure that you're using standard language. Whenever somebody sits down and writes something, they think a little bit more carefully about it than they do when they speak. And the language generally is a little bit better. And especially things like newspapers, they're edited. People are trying to make sure that the language that comes out is standard. So if you have any concerns about the language you encounter in a movie, go read a newspaper article and see if the language is similar. I'll bet it will be, because English doesn't vary so much from standard language as languages like Bahasa do.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Welcome.
Well, Joe, thank you very much for the question. It's inspiring question, and I believe it's not the question for you only, but other people have the same question like you. And Pak John, thank you very much for the writing answer then. Now, for the next one, I would like to invite Salsabila. Salsabila, please deliver your question. Salsabila, silakan bisa unmute the speaker.
Excuse me, Pak John. Hello, Pak John. Pak John, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Pak John, what do you think if there are many questions and we finish more than 12? Is it okay? 12:10 or 12:15? No.
I'm all right with that.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Pak.
Thank you, Pak John.
Silakan cepat.
Oke, baik. Salsabila Nova Kalista. Are you with me?
Perhaps we can go to Dinda Dea, Pak.
Okay then. Oh, Putri.
Yeah, Putri.
Are you with me, Putri?
Okay, Dinda dulu.
This is Dinda Dea.
Okay. Hello guys, so my name is Dinda Dea. So I have a question for Mr. John. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
So based on Mr. John webinar in the first, some effective language learning is about set your goal. So sometimes that we already set the goals and then we try to make a to-do list. For example, day 1 I have to learn about it, and then day 2 I have to learn about something, and then etc. And then after that, the next day we cannot be a consistency person. So how we build our consistency person to what's that to still learn about the English without bored and like that. So how to make our consistency and make our goal come true. Thank you. So that's all my question.
Thank you, Dinda.
You're welcome.
One thing to think about there is when you're making a goal for learning a language, you need to make sure it has to be specific. Say, all right, in this month, I'm going to study about how to use, these words. Don't set it up so that this day I'm going to study this word. This day I'm going to study that word. This day I'm going to study another word. If you get so specific like that, you wind up making it difficult for yourself. Make your goals specific so that in this amount of time, I'm going to study these words. Don't set yourself up for, well, I've got to do this one on this day and this one on this. Give yourself a little bit of room. A lot of people ask me, oh, when I'm studying English, can I take a test every week and see how I'm doing better? And I look at them, I say, don't test weekly. In fact, when it comes to like courses, I don't like testing monthly. It's too much. It takes a lot of effort to do a test, and that effort you could use more effectively in studying. So, set your goals with enough time that you can have some freedom inside of the goal. You can say, okay, first day you learn 3 things on your list. Your list has 7 things on it. Your goal is, 4 weeks away. You just knocked out a large portion of your material in one session. Okay, good for you. The next session, next time it takes you 2 sessions to get through another piece of the material. That's okay. You've got time. You finish it early. Hooray! I met my goal. I finished learning these things that I wanted to learn before my deadline. You go over your deadline. Shucks. I didn't get that last one thing that I wanted to learn. It's okay. We don't always make our goals. The goal is there for us to help motivate us. And, that self-motivation is what's important, especially when it's learning a language. How to keep ourselves from getting bored. Find something fun to do as part of your language learning. Okay, you've got a vocabulary list that you want to study, and you want to learn all of the words on this vocabulary list. That's a good goal. Be careful. Make sure that's not the only thing you're doing. Make sure one day you're studying your vocabulary. The next day you're watching a YouTube video. The next day you're studying more vocabulary. The next day you're reading somebody's vlog on the internet and just trying to make sure that you can get the big picture. Mix it up. If you're exercising, people tell you when you go to the gym, don't do the same exercises every day. Change it. One day you go and you do bench presses, and then you do squats, and then you do lats. The next day you do lats and you do bench presses, and then you do squats. Mix it up. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you then. Now, Salsabila. Are you with me, Salsabila? Or Putri Ayu. Putri Ayu. Oh, Ananda. Oh ya, Putri Ayu.
Putri. Ya. Okay. Hi, my name is Putri Ayu Melania. I will speak it in bahasa. Saya ingin bertanya kepada Mr. John. Jadi saya setiap berbicara bahasa Inggris itu selalu takut, selalu kurang percaya diri gitu. Saya pernah diajak berbicara sama orang asli Amerika seperti itu menggunakan bahasa Inggris dan saya mengerti apa yang dia katakan, saya juga mengerti apa yang harus saya jawab gitu. Tapi ketika akan berbicara itu rasanya kurang percaya diri, takut gitu. Ya mirip seperti tapi juga saya merasa kurang percaya diri.
Okay, it seems that, oh yeah, Putri. You see that the bandwidth is low then?
Yeah.
Jaringan di sananya sedang lemah ini Pak. Mungkin bisa dijelaskan pertanyaannya dari Pak Kusuma.
Lemah?
Mungkin Pak Kusuma bisa ngulang Pak Kusuma pertanyaannya.
Baik, so Putri bertanya mengenai how to increase the self confidence. Jadi masalah yang dihadapi Putri adalah ketika bertanya atau berbicara dalam bahasa Inggris dengan seseorang, terutama dengan native speaker, Putri bisa paham apa yang dikatakan oleh native speaker, tapi Putri merasa sulit untuk meresponnya. Dan kalaupun bisa memahami apa yang harus dikatakan, Putri having low self-confidence in responding. Ini bukan hanya masalah Putri saja, tapi this one is a general problems for non-native English speaker. Nah, Pak John, silakan menanggapi pertanyaan ini.
Oke. Ya, ketakutan memang kendala banyak orang hendak belajar bahasa dan kalau Anda terpaksa, kalau Anda tidak bisa membangkitkan kenekatannya, Anda harus cari cara di mana Anda bisa membuatkan sesuatu yang ya mungkin tidak langsung akan dipandang orang. Misalnya buatkan jurnal di mana Anda tiap hari berusaha untuk menuliskan apa saja dalam bahasa yang ingin dipelajari, yang Anda sendiri akan baca, atau ngerekam diri, di mana Anda bisa tampil tanpa takut ya ketahuan orang lain. Itu sebagai langkah awal. Lama-lama Anda akan harus mengendalikan ketakutannya untuk menyambung sama orang. Karena ya itu tujuannya belajar bahasa. Bagaimana saya bisa nyambung sama orang? Itu alat nyambung antara orang. Jadi kalau Anda terlalu takut sama orang, apa orang akan kira, apa orang akan mikir tentang Anda, itu harus dikendalikan. Mungkin itu saja.
Baik, terima kasih Pak John. Berarti intinya adalah how to motivate ourselves then. Bagaimana cara kita memotivasi diri kita sendiri agar kita bisa memberanikan diri untuk mulai practice English in order to communicate with others. Semoga Putri dan kita semua bisa mempraktikkan apa yang disarankan oleh Pak John. Dan untuk selanjutnya masih ada penanya Ananda. Ananda, Ananda Gusti Ayu, are you with me? Bisa dengar suara saya, Ananda? Ananda? Speakernya bisa di-on-kan dulu, speakernya bisa dinyalakan. Ananda bisa dengar saya?
Atau yang ada di chat Pak Kusuma, dibacakan saja mungkin.
Ya, dari Ananda barangkali having low bandwidth.
Yes.
Pertanyaan Ananda, bagaimana dengan yang bisa fasih berbahasa Inggris, namun tidak bisa menulis bahasa Inggris? Apa solusi untuk itu? Having good speaking ability, but lack of ability in writing. So, what's the strategy to increase the writing ability? Mungkin kalau ini kita perlu masukan dari both of our keynote speakers ya, both berarti. Okay, so Pak Hartawan, do you wanna give suggestion first dealing with Ananda?
Okay. Yeah, this is not Ananda's problem actually, but most student problem. Okay.
I do agree with you.
Okay. I want to make a reflection of myself. Saya orangnya dulu juga tidak percaya diri, Pak. Saya tidak percaya diri, saya tidak bisa menulis, gitu kan? Akhirnya saya menggunakan media saya, misalnya saya bercerita tentang kegiatan saya sehari-hari dalam bahasa Inggris itu saya tulis, Pak. Jadi kegiatan saya itu saya tulis dalam bahasa Inggris, agenda-agenda saya, terus apa yang saya rasakan dalam buku diary itu saya tulis dalam bahasa Inggris. Terus ketika jadi kita mulai dari hal-hal yang sederhana dulu lah, begitu kan? Itu kuncinya, mulailah dari hal yang menulis yang sederhana. Kalau Anda tidak memulai dari hal yang sederhana, nanti pemikiran Anda terlalu kompleks. Anda mau nulis buku, mau nulis cerita, wow, it's a very hard, it's quite difficult, it takes time. Begitu kan? Jadi awalilah dari hal-hal yang sederhana. Nulis buku diary dulu, kegiatan sehari-hari dulu dalam bahasa Inggris. Kalau nanti Anda itu sudah terbiasa, maka nanti Anda bisa lanjutkan dalam menulis-menulis yang lain. Mungkin menulis cerita, puisi, begitu. Tapi untuk konsumsi sendiri dulu. Kalau nanti sudah merasa bagus, baru diberikan ke teman untuk supaya diberi feedback. That's my idea, Pak Kusuma.
Oke deh, thank you Pak Hartawan. Jadi baik untuk Ananda maupun juga untuk kita semua, Pak Hartawan suggestion is very practical, very practical. So what we need to do is just to practice on what Pak Hartawan has explained. So that's what we need to practice because the suggestion is not theoretical suggestion but a practical one. Nah, kalau Pak John, do you have any suggestion dealing with Nanda question, Pak John? Being able to speak English well, but having problem in writing English.
Well, it's my suggestions are like Pak Hartawan's suggestions. Yes, learning to write in a new language. You can be. I'm very comfortable speaking Bahasa. I'm very comfortable listening to Bahasa. When it comes to reading Bahasa, it comes to writing Bahasa. It takes practice. It just takes practice. The more you do it, the better you will get at it. And Pak Hartawan's suggestion about, produce it for yourself first. It's very helpful because it gets you producing. You can sit down, you produce it for yourself, and you don't even have to reflect on it immediately. You can put it down. You can write yourself a little essay, write yourself a little poem, and then put it down. rest, relax. Somebody asked earlier on the chat privately about people who are older and learning. And one problem that people who are older, especially people who are in their 50s and in their 60s, and they want to learn a new language, they're usually very busy thinking about their life. They're very busy thinking about the world, thinking about their job, thinking about their living situation, maybe their house, maybe their spouse. All of this busyness, which you're a college student, so you're not quite there yet. All of this busyness distracts us from relaxing and putting stuff together. When we relax, our minds can absorb things better. Our minds can make conclusions better. Our thinking just works better when we're relaxed. So if you're feeling really worried about things, sit down, produce a piece of work, and to help yourself relax, set it aside. Don't look at it.
Halo, Pak John. Halo, Pak John.
Okay. Giving yourself that little bit of time to relax will help you think more clearly. Is that, you sit down, you work it, you produce it. Sorry about that. When you're writing, you need to give yourself some time after you finish writing it. There's one writer. He's fairly famous. He's written several books that have been very popular recently. I can't remember his name at the moment, but I watched a video of him online. And when he writes a book, he leaves it. He doesn't go back to it. He goes on to the next project, writes something else. Now, he's already a professional writer. You, in developing yourself professionally, you write something, set it aside, relax, go have a cup of coffee with a friend, come back to it, and then review it. And this is good advice for writing even in Bahasa, but it really helps with writing in a new language, because you relax a little bit and you say, oh, that's not how that's supposed to, read it out loud to yourself after you've relaxed. Whoa, that's not how this language sounds. Every language has its own particular sound, its own particular feel. You can identify somebody speaking Madurese without understanding the words they say because of the feel of the language. The same goes for Bugis, same goes for Mandarin, same goes for English, same goes for Hindi. Every language has its feel. And so when you sit down and you read something you wrote, does it feel right? Oh, that part doesn't feel quite right. Underline it. Underline it, keep going through it. And at the end, do your regular process of editing. Edit it once, write it again, leave it. Move on to the next piece. So I hope that.
Thank you very much, Pak John. So the key is, again, practice and practice then. Another question addressed to Pak John from Rantika Rombe. Rantika Rombe, are you with me? Rantika?
Yes, sir.
Well, okay then. So I'll read Rantika's question addressed to Pak John. The question is how we can improve our listening, because sometimes I try to watch a movie without subtitle, but still there are few sentences I can't understand clearly. So the point is improving our listening ability, Pak John. Do you have any suggestion about that, Pak?
Do more of it. The more you listen, the better you will get at it. The more you will listen, the faster you will be able to understand someone speaking. That is, you will be able to listen to someone who speaks quicker. And the only way to do that is by listening. I told you it took me 4 months working with Bahasa Indonesia to get so that the of Bahasa turned into language. It took 4 months. English is a difficult language in many respects, and it will take longer. You can understand some of it. That's great. There's a little bit you don't understand. Hey, when I'm listening to a native speaker over the phone, sometimes there are things I don't understand. It happens. So don't be afraid of not understanding a little bit, because even if we're talking to people in our own language, we'll miss something. It happens. The beauty of a movie is you can rewind and play again. And rewind and play again. And rewind and play again. And be sure whoever you're watching the movie with is okay with that. So more is better. That's the best advice I can give you.
Okay. The more we listen, the better our understanding will be then. So hopefully, Pak John's suggestion is not only useful for Ranita, but also for all of us, because it happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. And one shocking fact that Pak John told us is that even among the native speakers, sometimes, so that's quite, the key point is that keep on practicing, keep on listening then. Another question perhaps?
This is the last question, Pak.
Yeah, it seems that's the last one, because Nani's question is similar to Putri, and it has already been explained by Pak John then. So I think this is the last question. Well, thank you very much then. It has been 12:15.
Yes, yes, Bapak.
It means that time flies then.
Yes.
Time flies like an arrow. But of course, we always have tomorrow, right? So even though we have to end our webinar at this very moment, but still we can contact each other, especially to Pak John and Pak Hartawan, for those our beloved students. This is the end of our open question session. A thank you for those who have delivered the question, because the answer for both speakers are not only for those who delivered the question, but also for all of us. Now, since we have finished our open question session, it means that we have to end our webinar today. To close this webinar, let me invite
Tante or Bulis.
Oh yeah, we have
Bulis, Bapak.
Bu Listianingsi. Ibu Listianingsi.
Selamat pagi, Bulis. Halo,
Selamat
Bulis.
siang, Bulis. Bisa mendengar suara saya, Bulis?
Bulis.
Baik sepertinya ini, Pak.
Oh, gitu.
Iya.
Oh,
Apa
gitu.
videonya enggak di apa namanya? Di on kan.
Iya. Mungkin Bu Yuli saja kalau begitu yang menutup. Ya, yang menutup Bu Yuli saja.
Bisa mendengar suara saya, Ibu Yuli?
Bisa, Pak.
Terima kasih. Ini karena kita sudah selesai session open question session, jadi it's time for us to end our webinar. So we would like you to close this very useful webinar, man. So the time is yours.
Okay. Dear Pak John, I'm sorry. I of course I see you. I am watching your presentations, and your suggestions to the new students, to the MAPA, that you have the interesting idea that we have to to start our study. So we have to have a hope. We have to have a dream. Yeah, to be something like to be a good speaker, something like that. And also from Pak Artawan, your presentation is very good, is great. So now it's 12:18. So of course, to be or not to be, we have to close. We have to end our webinar. So Pak John, thank you very much for your time, for your suggestion, for your contributions. So next time, if we have time, so I will invite you again to join the seminar like this, maybe not only in a webinar, but in the in the offline meeting, something like in ECKLL, yeah, that we have conducted the ECKLL, this is the international seminar that we conducted every year. So thank you very much, Pak John, and students, Pak Artawan, Pak Kusuma, and also the MAPA. So thank you very much, and thank you very much. Okay, goodbye. Okay.
Thank you very much. Mas Niko, difoto dulu ya Mas Niko. Difoto dulu ya Mas.
Bisa.
Ya.
Untuk para peserta bisa mengaktifkan videonya untuk sesi foto.
Videonya semua diaktifkan. Siapa ini yang belum aktif ini? Putri mana Putri?
Oh ya, Mas Niko. Bila ada partisipan yang masuk untuk meminta materi webinarnya, bagaimana Mas?
Bisa nanti materinya dikirim ke saya, nanti saya sebar ke email yang mendaftar, Pak.
Siap, terima kasih.
Siap semua ini, siapa yang belum siap ini? Putri, Dia, Kristina, halo, Raihan, Deborah, Laima, Maulidia, come on, diaktifkan semua kameranya. Ini sudah siang, Pak John mau ada acara ini. Dwi Indiarti, Sri Ayu Agati, Yuanda, oke. Izar, Nurul Iklima, ayo cepat. Nurul, Dwi Ayu, Burindra belum juga. Ya.
Hadir.
Ya, silakan Mas. Kalau sudah siap Mas Niko, silakan boleh mungkin 30 detik lagi. Kalau
untuk
sudah siap.
Untuk slide pertama sudah, Pak ya. Ini ada 3 slide. Untuk slide pertama sudah. Untuk slide kedua. Oke. Untuk slide ketiga. Oke, sudah Pak Artawan.
Terima kasih. Monggo Pak Kusuma ditutup, Pak Kusuma di.
Okay, well, so as I told you, time flies like an arrow, but there will still be tomorrow. So that's why I thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for both participants and both speakers. I'll see you around in the faculty's next webinar. Hopefully that you'll join us. Together, we learn something. Well, thank you very much, and I'll see you around, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Kusuma and Mr. John.
Thank you. Shena. Thank you, Pak Kusuma.
Welcome.
Terima kasih Mas Niko, Bu Yuli.
Terima
kasih Bu Cahaya, Bu Rindra, Bu Lis, thank you so much. Bye. Saya boleh leave ya Mas ya?
Ya, bisa silakan Mas.
Oke, Pak John, terima kasih Pak John.
Dr. Sutomo University, or better known as Unitomo, is one of the well-known private universities in Surabaya, a city rapidly developed into an economic center in eastern Indonesia. Faculty of Letters is one of the 9 faculties in Dr. Sutomo University. Established since 1984, this faculty is known as the faculty heavily colored by foreign cultures.
Kurikulum Fakultas Sastra selalu disesuaikan dengan kebutuhan pendidikan di masa kini dan masa mendatang. Dalam peninjauan kurikulum, kami selalu melibatkan stakeholder, pengguna, alumni, dan akademisi dalam menyempurnakan kurikulum di setiap program studi. Di bidang penelitian dan pengabdian pada masyarakat, dosen-dosen kami menunjukkan peningkatan baik di bidang kuantitas maupun kualitas, sehingga Fakultas Sastra Universitas Dr. Sutomo tidak hanya menjadi menara gading tetapi juga bermanfaat bagi masyarakat sekitar. Dalam bidang kerjasama, Fakultas Sastra telah menjalin berbagai kerjasama dengan universitas maupun instansi baik di dalam maupun luar negeri. Salah satunya adalah kerjasama dengan Universitas Retsunan di Osaka, Jepang, yang secara rutin mengirimkan beberapa mahasiswa untuk saling bertukar pengalaman mengenai bahasa dan budaya masing-masing. Kerjasama ini sangat bermanfaat untuk meningkatkan kualitas dosen dan mahasiswa Fakultas Sastra.
On its journey, Faculty of Letters Dr. Sutomo University has 2 departments, English and Japanese.
English program, Dr. Sutomo University get B on accreditation through the applications of national standard in conducting 3 dharma perguruan tinggi, especially in language, literature, and culture in 2020. In teaching learning process, this program has several competent lecturers, both in master and doctorate degree, who have gotten education certificate or CERDOS. Besides, our teaching learning process is also supported by some native speakers and guest lecturers coming from many foreign countries. Meanwhile, in research and social service activities, this program has done many joint ventures with some institutions such as Al Bismar Islamic Boarding School and Gang Doli English Club. Concerning the results of the research and social service, we publish them in our local journal and some proceedings in international seminars. Every year, there is a cross-cultural understanding program conducted here in cooperation with Oklahoma State University and other universities. So, by doing all of the above program seriously, we hope that our output will be ready to face the competition in society.
日本語学科は1993年に開設されました。おかげさまで今年度の認証飛躍において絵を獲得することができました。今まで200人以上の卒業生を輩出してまいりました。彼らは国内外のさまざまな分野で活躍しています。学生たちは在学中に日本語学科と連携協定をしている期間、すなわち日本の北海道や沖縄、さらには関西地方のホテル、あるいはインドネシア国内のさまざまなところでインターンシップを行うことが義務付けられています。また、日本語学科は複数の日本人教員を抱えており、さらに日本の卒業大学からの留学生がすでにおりますので、 日本語を話す実践の場がキャンパスにあることから、学生たちの日本語運営能力は比較的高く、自然な日本語をマスターすることができています。加えて、日本学科では東ジャワジャパンクラブの協力を得て、定期的に懇談会を実施しています。以上のようなさまざまな活動を通じて、学生たちは日本人と直接接する機会を得て、体験や学習を積んでおります。そのため、卒業には即戦力として活躍できる人材が生まれているわけです。ありがとうございます。
In order to support the realization of the vision of Faculty of Letters Unitomo, the addition of facilities supporting 3 pillars of higher education continues to be carried out. In order to improve the teaching and learning process, career development starting from comfortable class and student activity facilities, including multimedia laboratory, culture laboratory in Japanese corner, located in the library as an infrastructure for students to better enjoy the Japanese atmosphere. Dealing with non-academic activities, students of Faculty of Letters have several activities, making them possible to enrich their knowledge about culture and to practice their English skills. There are a number of non-academic activities held in English department, such as debate club, which is a club which activities are to train students in delivering their critical thinking using English, and cooking class held for the students not only to be familiar with Western cuisine, but also to make the students learn about and practice entrepreneurship. There are also drama activities as a means of training students to communicate in English and better understanding about drama theories they have learned. And there are also several other activities that can support the abilities and competencies of students in the fields of English letters. While non-academic activities in Japanese department include Sodu, Kanoyu, Dorikurabu, origami, and Yosakoi dance. Shodu is an art of calligraphy about how to write letters of hiragana, katakana, and kanji, beautifully using Japanese brass called ude. Kanoyu, called the tea ceremony in English, is an art of how to prepare, serve, and enjoy the tea. Kanoyu is full of philosophical perspective on how humans can live in harmony with themselves, others, their God, and their environment. Ryurikurabu is a cooking club run by students of the Department of Japanese, whose purposes are to learn the culture of Japanese cuisine and to train students to practice entrepreneurship. There's a famous saying, "Mi de taberu," in Japanese culture meaning eating with the eyes. It means that food should not only be delicious, but also beautifully seen. Origami is the art of paper folding originating from Japan. Origami is not only the technique of folding paper into an object, but also contains many philosophical perspectives. One of which is a crane-shaped origami in Japanese called suru, whose philosophical meaning is a good wish. Yosakoi dance tells about the excitement of the farmers as an expression of gratitude for the abundant crops. And there are several other activities that can support the abilities and competencies of students in the field of Japanese literature. Faculty of Letters has graduated more than 100 people who have now been spread to both various government and private institutions in numerous countries. There is a great contribution given by alumni to the Faculty of Letters, both in terms of material and non-material matters.
Selamat pagi, teman-teman dan rekan-rekan. Pada kesempatan ini saya memperkenalkan diri. Nama saya adalah Insinyur Adi Wijaya, Sarjana Hukum, Sarjana Sastra. Saya adalah seorang lawyer, advokat, alumni dari Fakultas Sastra Unitomo Surabaya, jurusan Sastra Inggris. Bahwa saya adalah angkatan tahun 2006. Sebagai seorang lawyer, dalam menghadapi atau menerima satu job profesional yang berkaitan dengan perjanjian internasional yang berkaitan dengan bahasa Inggris, biasanya saya harus mendatangi atau bekerjasama dengan translator atau penerjemah. Akan tetapi setelah saya berkuliah di Unitomo Surabaya, Fakultas Sastra, jurusan Sastra Inggris, saya dapat meningkatkan capability dan kompetensi saya dalam berbahasa Inggris, sehingga pada saat saya menerima job dalam melayani klien-klien saya bisa langsung menghandle karena capability dan kompetensi saya dalam bahasa Inggris telah meningkat dengan baik. Harapan saya ke depan bagi alma mater tercinta adalah saya berharap Fakultas Sastra, jurusan Sastra Inggris senantiasa meningkatkan kemampuan para siswa, meningkatkan fasilitas laboratorium sehingga alumni-alumni mempunyai kemampuan speaking dan listening yang bagus sehingga nantinya dapat bersaing di dunia kerja. Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nama saya Fatia. Saya Direktur Utama dari PT Hukumi Indonesia Ngoro Mojokerto. Saya alumni Fakultas Sastra jurusan Sastra Jepang Universitas Dr. Sutomo Surabaya angkatan 2000. Selama saya kuliah di Unitomo, saya sempat mendapatkan beasiswa student exchange ke Jepang di Kochi University, dan berkat Unitomo pula saya bisa menapaki karir saya yang seperti ini. Di Unitomo saya bisa mendapatkan banyak hal, pengetahuan tentang Jepang, budaya Jepang, dan lain-lain. Berkat Unitomo pula saya bisa mendapatkan beasiswa S2 di Nagoya University, Jepang tahun 2008. Dengan belajar di Unitomo, saya mendapatkan banyak pengalaman yang sangat menyenangkan. Ada berbagai macam klub yang bisa saya ikuti waktu itu, salah satunya adalah Chanoyu. Harapan saya ke depannya Universitas Dr. Sutomo bisa menjalin kerjasama dengan berbagai pihak, terutama dengan perusahaan-perusahaan PMA yang ada di Indonesia, sehingga para alumni bisa bekerja di perusahaan-perusahaan yang sudah bekerja sama dengan Unitomo. Selain itu juga mungkin bisa banyak terjalin kerjasama dengan universitas-universitas di Jepang, sehingga bisa mengirimkan siswa-siswanya untuk belajar ke Jepang. Terima kasih.
Mencapai yang dicanangkan oleh Fakultas Sastra Universitas Dr. Sutomo, yaitu menjadi fakultas yang unggul berstandar nasional dalam melaksanakan Tridharma perguruan tinggi, khususnya di bidang bahasa, sastra, dan budaya. Kami berharap adanya peningkatan kerjasama penelitian di tingkat internasional, selain juga peningkatan prestasi mahasiswa di bidang akademik maupun non-akademik.
Unitomo